Hello and welcome to another game preview. My name's Haas, and this time we're taking a look at a game called Divinity Dragon Commander. Divinity Dragon Commander is being developed by the Belgian game developer Larian Studios, who are most famous for their various Divinity games and are, in addition to developing Dragon Commander, also working on a game called Divinity Original Sin that recently got successfully kickstarted. Now, Dragon Commander is currently in a multiplayer beta, but I have had access to a press beta that includes the first act of the campaign, and the game is scheduled to release on August 6.
Preferred conversation to combustion? What a nincompoop.
Divinity Dragon Commander is a strategy game, but it incorporates many different aspects. When you jump into the campaign, you are initially met by a little bit of backstory. You are in fact a dragon that is a commander, and your end goal is to become the ruling emperor of the world you are in. Before any battle appeared on my screen, I was first met by some amazing music, followed by a look at my own airship. Dragon Commander basically consists of three major parts, and much of your time will be spent conversing to various characters on board your own steampunk ship, of which the layout is beautifully designed. The throne room is where you will have various political discussions. Characters initially have definite exaggerations and easily fall in a few categories. But beneath the money-hungry dwarves, explosion-obsessed imps, or fanatically religious undead, you do get to see a few more layers, and a lot of the actual political choices you have to make seem to be serious issues to this day, ranging from healthcare to women's rights or family planning, and that may not be something you initially expect from a game filled with elves, undead, imps, and lizardmen. But it's interestingly interwoven from what I can tell, creating a situation where you have direct concerns about society and morality mixed with a fantasy world.
I'd rather lick marmalade from an orc's behind than bow to an imp.
It wasn't incredibly clear how big the impact of the specific conversations will be, however. You definitely lose favor with a few races if you actively start picking sides, and this then results in a few rewards in the form of passives such as more gold income or various card rewards, in addition to affecting how well your combat units perform in certain countries. But the actual length as to how dramatic the consequences will be is not something I was able to distinctly make out. Then there were two rooms dedicated to various upgrades. The engineering bay has an interesting imp fellow included, and here you will buy various unit upgrades, or unlock new units in the first place. The royal chambers allows you to purchase various abilities, because again you are a freaking dragon, and finally there's the bar for even more conversations. It may look like this is but a small part of the game, but that doesn't at all seem to be the case. Dialogue extends beyond politics to actual interaction with your crew members, and generals react to the player's decisions. But all of this is but one part of the game. The second part is the strategic map. Dragon Commander does not seem to have any pre-made missions. Instead, you navigate a turn-based world map, where you have to take over various locations with the end goal of taking over, and keeping, the enemy capital. This is rather similar to how it functions in the multiplayer, but with the added political consequences. Every location has a number of different resources. Gold, which you gain every turn and is used for purchasing new units, plus this also limits how many units you can purchase on a specific zone. If, for example, a zone is earning you 2 gold per turn, you can only purchase 2 units on this tile. Then there is support, which determines the maximum amount of units you can create when you actually go into combat. Popularity, which is based on your diplomatic standing with a race, in turn affects your entrenchment, support and building speeds. In short, there are quite a few mechanics here to keep in mind. The way you then navigate the map is by purchasing units, which you can do in your capital and wherever you have built a war factory on a tile, as you have the option of building one structure on every zone. Neutral and undefended zones can be captured by as little as 1 unit, while a zone with enemy units results in a fight. In addition, you can also play various cards that you earn throughout the game. These cards range from defensive abilities to increasing the gold income of a zone, or maybe sabotaging the enemy zones instead. Turns are taken at the same time and are then executed in a sequence. When a fight does occur, it can be auto-resolved, in which case you can select one of the generals available, or you can pick yourself. Here you can also play a number of different cards. If you're feeling like causing some destruction and you pick yourself to resolve a fight, you'll enter a battlefield, which is dependent on the tile you're on, and this is where the third big part of the game comes to play, the real-time strategy part. You'll begin the fight on a region with whichever troops you moved into place. Plus, every region has a specific population amount. If, say, you previously played the genocide card in the strategic map, you significantly reduce this population, and population is required in order to build new units. Hopefully you played the genocide ability because you had a significant advantage in terms of attacking units, because in that case the enemy AI is now in trouble. On this combat map you don't ever place structures freely, but instead take over strategic points. On these strategic points, you can build factories to recruit new units, or in some cases recruitment centers, in order to deplete the communal population pool as quickly as possible in your favor. This population mechanic is rather interesting, and it does seem to favor the player that can act the quickest. The factories you then built can of course produce your combat units, ranging from ground to air and sea units, and you then use this to, well, of course blow up enemy units, and in turn take over their strategic points. Maps themselves are rather small, and certain units seem to work well against others, but their positioning and upgrades you may have gained previously are also quite important. Perhaps most important, however, is you. Remember, you are an actual dragon, and in Dragon Commander this means you can switch, at the cost of a few resources, almost instantly into a dragon and be as annoying to the enemy as possible. Dragons seem to come in a few types, but these are mainly cosmetic and slight passive changes from the looks of things. The actual dragon combat is a lot of fun. You have a main attack which, unsurprisingly, is your own fiery breath, in addition to an entire set of abilities which you researched previously. Did I mention you are a dragon with a jetpack? Because I mean, why not? Due to this you can quickly fly around the battlefield, and as you will die quite quickly when focused, can use this to dodge out of the way of incoming missiles. When your dragon does fall, it's not a huge deal as you can activate dragon form again whenever you please, at the cost of a bit of supply. The addition of the dragon is quite devastating, and with the correct abilities you can easily turn the tide of the battle, but without an army to support you, your chances of survival are slim. While in dragon form you also have a decent amount of control over your army, meaning you can stay in this form for quite some time if you play your cards correctly. Dragon Commander then certainly seems to do its name credit, and shooting across the battlefield and bombarding your enemies with fire is a ton of fun to do. All in all, Dragon Commander seems to incorporate many different aspects, many of which I've been able to see only on a basic level. Whether or not these different aspects end up combining into a meaningful and enjoyable experience remains to be seen. As potentially interesting as the characters are, they could easily be delegated to mere popularity sliders, or the RTS combat may end up being incredibly easy with little strategic choice. But as of right now, at the very least it is easy to see that Dragon Commander is showing a ton of potential. My name's been Haas, thank you for watching, and here's hoping that Dragon Commander ends up as a potent and highly curious title.
There'd better be a